Explanation time. So, I assume you guys do not know what a photon clock is. Assume that these are like two random mirrors, and there is a photon which goes here, gets reflected, comes back, and the time it takes like to come back is like counted as one tick or whatever the heck, man. This is how they basically keep time if you are using a photon clock, right? So, if you're going at a speed in some cooler spaceship, right? Epic drawing. So when you're going at speed, instead of going in a straight line, the photon clock will actually move a bit diagonally, which takes a little bit more time because you're going like this. So instead of going like this, it goes like these, which takes a little bit more time, and thus your time which is taken at rest is lesser than the time which is taken at not rest while you are in movement, right? So this means t, this is like the time at your rest, and t dash, which is like your new time. T dash is greater than t, which is exactly what I said earlier, but yes. So what this means is when you have a watch inside the spaceship, because if you have a photon clock inside a spaceship, because it is going this way, it is actually going to move slower than if you were to look at that watch from outside the spaceship. If you're inside the spaceship, you would think it's going this way, and you would be like, oh yeah, time is normal. But if you're outside your spaceship, when 1 second passed in your actual normal photon clock, there could be like 2 or maybe 3 or like 4 or 5 seconds, something which may have passed in the clock on the spaceship. No, wait, the other way around. I'm kind of stupid. When 2 or 3 or 4 seconds have passed in your clock, because your clock is faster, because the time taken here is more, only 1 second will pass in that clock. And this is for the photon clocks. Now you're going to be like, oh, Sunmik, I don't fucking use photon clocks. I use normal clocks for that. Okay, so imagine these nuts, of course. You have an watch, right? Watch for reference. If you do not know what a watch looks like, it is very cool because it is mine. But yes, what the fuck is the time now? No, as let damn. Anyway, so if you zoom on to the seconds hand, which is actually a minute hand, but whatever the heck, it is going to be made of individual atoms of the same material, whatever the heck the material is, right? And not atoms, molecule, I guess. Anyway, so when your clock is moving, right, you're going to be like, oh, it moves like this, then the second hand goes here, here, here. But your entire second hand won't move directly like this, because even though the atoms are connected, they are still not an instantaneous movement, because your motor which turns the clock is here. So there is going to be a force that is exerted in this atom, which is then exerted in this atom, and that keeps on going on. This is like some vibrational motion bullshit. So when this molecule, atom, whatever the heck moves, this won't instantaneously follow with it. It will take some small amount of time to move at the same position so that it becomes a diagonal, and this time keeps on increasing. And if you think about it, the distance, if you look at the distance, because these are separate atoms, you're going to have different distances that they travel in an arc, and that distance will again increase when you're moving in a spaceship. So that is why your actual clocks will also, instead of going like this, they'll go like this or some shit. You get what I mean? I know you guys get what I mean. You guys are very smart, of course. My Friday fun facts are only given to smart people. Anyway, right? And then this same thing is then also applied to anything else that is in motion. I don't know how it works. It just works, alright. I'm not a physics PhD guy. Anyway, so, and as I've said in the actual written fun fact, typed fun fact, whatever the heck, this will also apply to muons. So usually muons have like a half-life of like 1.5 to 2.2 microseconds or something. And half-life basically That is not the spelling of life. It just works out, right? Half life means imagine you have like a radioactive atom which has like a lot of nuclei. So eventually, this nuclei is going to decay by itself. I know you guys know what a decay is, but yes. And so that amount of time taken, that the concentration of these nuclei concentration becomes half, is called as the half life. Alright, so half life is basically time taken for something to become half of its own concentration, right? So when you look at muons, they have like this half life, but when they are moving in space and it's like freaking, I think they're almost at the speed of light. Apparently, who knows, man, God knows. So when that happens, their half life increases to 15 to 22 microseconds, which is still like very fucking tiny for us, but it is a difference, which shows that processes, like physical processes, just as like radioactive decay, like usually radioactive decay is constant, as you might have read, but this shows that the processes itself get slowed down. And if physical processes slowed down, guess what physical processes make up? Chemical processes. Guess what these make up? Biological processes. So if physical processes can slow down, so can chemical and so can biological processes. So if assume you take like twins, right, born on the same date and time, it was a massive twin. Anyway, one of the twins is on Earth. Very colorful illustration. Oh man, he's so good at art. Should I do XYZ day art days? You tell me. Anyway, and if there is a twin in a spaceship, that twin in the spaceship is going to be younger. I mean, he's going to age slower, so he's going to be younger. Whereas this guy is going to be fucking dead, rip or some shit. I don't know. That is like Satan all across. Who cares? It's time dilation. Coolest watch of all time.